That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Okay. Oh, that's what we're doing, y'all. Okay.
The doors of the Love Church are now open. Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the three of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way. 2, they really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family because we only can take care of us? Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, if you want to hear more of today's real issues in the world of love. The doors of the Love Church are now open.
All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and good night, some places. And welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
What's up, fam? How y'all doing today? Doing okay, man. Doing okay. Kind of
in there.
Trying to get reacclimated, after you come off vacation, then you got to get back to life, as it were, get back into the rhythm and the grind and all that. I'm like, I don't want to do this no more.
You like somebody was on a whole different vibe last week.
Right. Now we're back to this.
Back to regular life.
Back to regular life, man. For real.
Yeah, man. It's been a great week. It's so funny. I guess before we get into the formal things, in terms of trending things, it's been a lot of talk about the Tyler Perry release this week on I want to say it was on the Amazon Prime it's called Divorce in the Black.
Oh yeah.
And so a lot of talk about that. I don't know if you saw it. I had a chance to see it. I had a chance to see it. I guess I don't want any Tyler hate mail, but anyway. So
it's not about that. He let him do his thing. I'm just
put it this way. I have absolutely I'm all for drama and playing things out and things being interesting. My only take is just like the Rubik's Cube that has colors on all sides, right? Mm-hmm. So as it is in the African American community, there are different sides, contrary to what everyone believes. It's not all the same angle and aspect of us, nor are all of our men portrayed the same.
That's true.
We don't all do this. We don't all threaten and keep the woman hostage in the house and beat them up. We don't do all that. So to me, sometimes I'm silently championing for that movie that's going to come out to paint us in a different light. That's my only thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm about to do my own movie. That's what I'll do my own. That's it.
Oh, you mean that's going to be a daggone series?
Yeah, that'll be a series. Yeah, I'm going to do my own there. I'm going to convince. Maybe I start with Tubi. Yeah, I start with start with Tubi, and then I work my way on up to Netflix and all that.
Wow.
They're like, you ought to see this about black men. Yeah, paint us, and I'll be realistically. I'll show us surely how we are, but I'll also show us in different lights of positivity. It's not all one side to us.
No, okay. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so now today's topic. I know people probably read it and they were like, what's he talking about? The topic is the song called Your Ex. Mm-hmm. Why is it still being played?
Wow.
So the concept I'm coming from, in short, is basically why some of us today allow the people of yesterday, aka our exes, to have so much influence in our lives today. Many people have long left relationships, and their song is still being played on the radio. Psychologically, that frequency is still going, and you're sitting here, you're in front of a new man or in front of a new woman, in front of a new wife or husband,
right?
And the song is still being played.
Right.
So we're gonna deal with that today, and go from there. So before I get into my notations and research, I'll let you go ahead and go first. Yes.
All right. I was going to say something, but I'm going to let it go. All right. The song called Your Ex. Why is it still being played? There is an electromagnetic interference, which is also called radio frequency interference. This disruption occurs in the radio frequency spectrum, thus delivering a disturbance generated by an external source that affects an electrical circuit, causing some interference with the already harmonious frequency. Along those same lines, relationships and marriages where two people attempt to stay connected, maintain consistent communication, and love without interruption can also be affected by an external source, also known as the familiar frequency of an ex, that can cause a channel disruption and disturbance in your relationship if that same song or broadcast is allowed to continue to cast a disturbance over your current commitment.
Interesting. So, when I was thinking of that, I came from the perspective of, if we're thinking about, back when we were in school, you probably heard a lot about frequencies and different channel bands and distortion and things like that.
Yeah.
And so what came to mind when I think of this is, if you take two people, you and I are talking on, let's see, this as they do in the trucking industry, we're on the CB, right?
Yeah.
It's you and I having a conversation. And you ever notice how, if anyone has ever used a CB or been on a frequency type of device, and all of a sudden you hear the disruption come through.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it happens on the phone. You could be on the phone with someone, and all of a sudden something random will sound like another message from a pickup truck, from somebody on a large truck or something. You're saying, wait, did you hear that same thing? And a person is saying, yeah, I can hear that same disturbance, so to speak. And so that's what's happening in our relationships today. We are, because we haven't properly placed or dealt with relationships of yesterday, they are haunting us. Well, heck, I can't say haunting in every situation, because sometimes it's welcomed, right? They are hanging around in marriages, in relationships, and the poor spouse is having to deal with it. Because a lot of times people can be sort of not so overtly blatant, but you'll be subtle about it. It's like you're always referencing the ex. You're always saying, well, this person, let me call them this. That person used to know a person that fixed cars really good, so let me reach out to them. Right. That sort of thing. And it gets to the point where it's like, listen, when you are calling yourself, choosing a person, we'll start from the top, choosing a person for marriage, or choosing to say we are going to be committed to move forward, there has to be some differings and separations of channels. Like this channel here is for me and my wife, right? Okay. This channel over here let's just say we're dealing with situations where someone may have been divorced, so you share a child with someone. Right. Even if you're not married, you share a child with someone, but you're in a relationship. So if it's a respectful situation, I say it like that, because someone can be that person, but if they're not respectful, then you deal with that accordingly. But if it's respectful, then that person needs to have another channel. And I'm saying that to say, my house should not be interrupted with that, right? The house frequency should not be interrupted with that frequency. That's another frequency that should be dealt with over there and handled in a way that it doesn't interfere with us. Yeah. Right. So what happens with resentment in this kind of scenario is when we allow people to kind of run shot all over our relationship, our marriage. Let's just say your wife's feeling away because she feels like this person from the past can just run amok all throughout what you got going on, or even in a relationship, or the person is keep calling, I need this, the baby need this, all these kind of things, or vice versa with the men saying, I want to come and get my son right now. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, just making an example. You got to have those boundaries and draw those lines to say, listen, this is the frequency that we need to keep between you and I. This other song playing, we need to turn it off or toss it away, toss it, right? But this song needs to stop playing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, this is an interesting conversation. Because you think about all of your past experiences, previous ties that you've had with people, the things that you may have gone through with them, and as you know, you have developed obviously a bond with that particular person. That's the reason why you were in a relationship in the first place, because you realized that you had some things that were in common. And so you had some chemistry, you had some compatibility. But then you got to a point where you weren't as compatible as you used to be. Something changed. Something happened. Don't know what, but something changed in the parameters of the relationship where now you were no longer on the same frequency. You're no longer on the same wavelength, if you will. And so you broke up.
Wow. Okay.
You know, and the idea behind breaking up is the fact that you have disconnected yourself from this person, and this person no longer has a current connection with you. But did you disconnect from them? That's the question that I guess I'm kind of asking, because in order for an ex to be able to come back into your life, there still has to be a connection there. And I'm wondering, did we really disconnect from the ex? Now, granted, there are certain exceptions to this idea or this rule. You know, like you said, if you're divorced and you've been married, then you have kids and you have a co-parent with your kids, that's probably the more acceptable idea, that you remain in contact with your ex because you have children with them. And you have to co-parent with them. And hopefully you have fostered a congenial, polite relationship with the other parent so that you can raise your kids in peace and have a modicum of harmony within the scope of your relationship in terms of dealing with them. But then you have to deal with the fact that, you know, even though we're co-parenting, you're not allowing your ex to interfere in your current relationship. Because here's the thing. So we're connected in terms of being parents. We're connected in terms of co-parenting our kids, but we're not connected romantically, or are we?
Wow.
Are we still seeing them as a quote unquote viable option? Just kind of asking, because I think some of us, if we're honest with ourselves, just let's be real honest today in terms of having this conversation. Let's be really honest. Maybe I'm leaving them in a suspended state just in case the present situation doesn't work out the way that I want it to. And so I have my ex waiting in the wings in the event that my current situation doesn't go the way that I would like for it to go. I'm just saying. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But what I am trying to say is that we need to look at how we're dealing with our exes, and if we have really, honestly disconnected from them, because the only way that you can get a frequency through is if there's a connection. Even when you're talking about radios and CBs, there has to be a radio frequency that allows you to connect to the other side so that there's something happening between the two. But if there's a disconnection, if you change the frequency, alter the frequency, go to another frequency or wavelength, then that signal is disconnected. And there isn't any more communication happening between the two. So I'm just asking, I'm just wondering, are we really disconnected? We say that we're disconnected, but are we really disconnected?
You know what I believe is, if you think about it, you put something in my brain to hearing you just talk. So if you think about exes, there are most times when you hear people talk about their past or relationships, there are some exes they can speak of very dismissively. It's very easy to bring it up and it's done.
Right.
Then there are some exes that have reached to a higher level in your life, in your heart, so to speak, so much so that maybe your friends or someone around will even gasp when you mention that person's name, because they know the impact that person had, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying this to say, although the relationship is over, and we oftentimes say, oh, I met this new person and it is great, and we are moving in this direction and everything is good. The truth of the matter is, it's hard for people to be honest with themselves and say, even though relationship X ended, we were so high up here when it ended.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me to just dismiss them all the way back down and delete them, because with them being here, there's someone that if they were to just stop doing this one or two things, we could make it over the top if me and this new person doesn't work out.
Okay.
So people, what we are running from is the ability to have to recreate the wheel. We don't want to go back to ground floor zero. Oh, this is my father. This is my mother. This is my child. You can come around my friends. Are you a felon? Are you this? Are you this? We don't want to go through reinventing the heart all over.
Right.
So what we do is the next best thing. Let me latch on to what's familiar.
Right.
I already met their family. Here's a famous one. Their mother really liked me. Newsflash, mothers will like whomever is suitable for their child. And it's not just exclusive to you. People have a way of forgetting when it's over. You may be holding on, but people know how to forget and move right along, right? So the point I'm making is, humans are the only people who think it's okay to continue a service contract long after it has ended and there's no payment.
Right.
Verizon, your car note, no place. If your account is no longer active, you receive no benefits.
Right.
But we leave people alone, and we quote unquote say you're blocked. This relationship with you and I are deactivated. But if you come by here at night and see the light on, you can come through just a little bit, but you got to be out of here in the morning so everybody will still believe the light's off.
Oh, God.
That's what we do. And so we're not being honest with ourselves. We hold people subliminally. Like, think about it. If you're really serious about no distractions, then we would block everybody.
Yeah.
That was a lover or a potential lover that likes us or whatever. We don't just say, hey, I went through my phone. I blocked 5 people. There's 10 others in there that was a matter of the heart.
Right.
What, are you saving them for 6 months to see how I do? Do you understand what I'm saying? So we got to be honest. If your mind is blocked, you don't want anything coming in between what you potentially feel. Yeah. But if you are not serious, you are going to hold others in purgatory until you get to the end or the beginning of what you got going on the other side. Right. And this is the whole concept behind fostering friendships in relationships that ended because people didn't value you at that point. Right. But we seem to think after the relationships, we can get along so much better. Yeah. Of course, there's no more responsibility of upkeep of you. Yeah. So whatever happens now is free will. So what people want is to be relieved of their duty. Right. So if I'm breaking up with you, but you still want to be cool with me, cool. I don't have no more duties, but I'm good with hanging out with you. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So,
yeah, but you know what? And I want to say something, but I need to address what you just said. So I see what you're saying. If the relationship is cool and that we're friends and we respect each other's boundaries, we're not trying to cross those boundaries. We're not looking for an incursion in terms of what the other person does, trying to come back into our life. Okay. To some extent, I'm kind of okay with that. But part of me, the other side of my brain is going, do I really want to expose myself to something that may cause me to compromise my present situation in terms of the relationship that I'm in? Now, I understand all of us are men and women. We're grown. We can do whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Let's be honest, y'all. If you got just a little bit of that person in your life,
Yeah.
and here's the thing that we need to understand about this. Here's because it was something I had to put in my notes. Sometimes, and I think you were talking about this earlier, Charles, sometimes that bond, that connection to that person is so deep
Yes.
and so just I want to say soul tie, but we use that so often. It's such a significant bond that if I allow you to come back in,
Yes.
I can't guarantee that I'm not going to go in your direction and leave the present thing that I have, because that bond is so deep. And again, this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning about that connection, that disconnection. Hasn't been completely disconnected. That you're still connected to that person.
Yeah.
You haven't severed that connection. You need to completely sever it. And again, because we attribute such emotion and sentiment and affection to that bond. It causes us to recollect when we were having a good time, and we reminisce on the times that we had, and we were together, and we were alone, and we were at the restaurant, and we went to the movies, and we were just driving down the street. See, these are the things that we have to contend with when we're dealing with that connection, if we continue to allow that person to remain in proximity of where we are.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to have to deal with. So what I'm saying, at least for me, I love you, but this right here, there's a possibility that things ain't gonna go good with what I got right now.
Yeah, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I need to be able to say what we had was good, what we had was wonderful, but it's what we had.
Yeah,
it's what happened. What happened with us? The reason why we're not together no more. Now, let me do this real quick, and I'm gonna let it go. Let me do this real quick. So you were talking about dang, what were you talking about? Go back. Yeah. What were you?
I was talking about how we keep people that we revere at certain levels,
right?
They're already at a level that can continue from where we were.
I know what I was about to say.
Okay,
I got it back. So here's the thing, and y'all know me. Whenever I talk about my stuff, it's history or whatever like that. But real quick, I remember. I was living here, and I was just getting into relationship with Maria. I was just getting into relationship with Maria.
Be good, all right.
No, this ain't Uncle Adam's story time. I'm just saying, I'm just relating what happened. And so I remember, I don't know where I was. I might have been in Johnsburg. I don't know. I was driving somewhere, and I got a phone call.
Yeah,
I got a phone call. And it's interesting to me. Sometimes you get those texts, or you get those phone calls, and you know the name and you know the number. You done memorize that joke, so you know exactly who it is.
Yeah,
you know exactly who it is. And I knew exactly who it was that was calling me, and I was like, "Oh Lord." Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. And so I was like, okay, because I'd already made up my mind in terms of what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I'd already made my mind where I was heading, what I was going to do. Either you're going to be with me or you're not. No hard feelings. It's all good. They called me. They talked. They was like, well, I might be flying into your area sometime soon. And I was wondering, maybe we could go to lunch. I was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't. And here's the thing. Again, I'm currently thinking about the relationship that I'm having with Maria, and I'm enjoying it. Okay, it's cool. It's good, and I can see the potential and the possibility of what this could be with Maria. And so this person's on the phone trying to get me to do something that I'm like, no. We had our time, and I enjoyed the time, but What I have right now is what I'm looking at. Now, you had an opportunity. You had an opportunity
Yeah.
change and adjust so that we could continue. We were together. But you decided to go in a different direction, which is totally fine. Totally cool. I respect that. I want you to do what makes you happy, what fulfills you. But as for me in my house, I got to do what's right for me. And so at that present point in time, I said, look, listen, appreciate the offer. I understand what you're going to be doing, but I can't do that in good conscience.
Wow.
I can't do that in good conscience. I got something right now that's good. It's not all the way where it's supposed to be, but I know that it's going to get there. And so I need to make sure that I invest all of my energy, all of my resources, all of my time into what I have now instead of regressing backward to what I did have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all I'm saying is sometimes you just gotta put your foot down and establish the fact that I'm not going back. Listen, touch your neighbor and say, devil, no, I'm not going back. It's only a trap. I'm not going back. It's only a trap.
Oh man, you know what? Listen, I think one of the most important things people should establish, and you may not get this honestly out of the mouth of someone. So this means you're going to have to really tap into your discernment, your inner beacon, GPS beacon, to your thing that keeps you aware.
Yeah.
But you always got to understand that number one, whenever you encounter someone new, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you're always being compared.
Yeah.
Next best thing or the last best thing. You're being compared.
Yeah.
Then here's the other part. You always want to know, did this person arrive at my doorstep by choice or by default? And I say choice means choice is the healed answer. I met you, I chose you because I feel we connect. I like how I feel when I'm with you, and this feels healthy.
Yeah.
Default is I got tired of waiting on Darnell. He wouldn't stop cheating on me. He kept doing this and this and this, and I had enough and I left. But listen, really what it is you couldn't get him to stop cheating.
Wow.
But it doesn't mean you stop loving him.
That's true.
Because the worst love to inherit is trauma love.
Oh, yeah.
Inheriting someone that comes from trauma is always tough because somewhere in that bond was some pretty deep roots laid.
Yeah.
And they can be dysfunctional roots, but they're laid, right? Yeah. And if you take the dysfunctional roots of liking something about a person, you sexually enthroned with a person, they have this, they're so fine, they got money, all of these things that get your little eyes wide open,
right?
The person does not respect you enough to put you front and center. So you deal with them, you're with them, but you're dealing with a lot of abuse along the way. Right. And so it may not be physical, but it's psychological nonetheless.
Yeah.
So this is happening. And then next thing you know, it gets to a point where either the person leaves you or leaves you with no choice but to leave them. So that to me is still not saying you're not over this person. You just had an abrupt disruption. And like most of us, we don't want to be alone. So what do? We say, you know what? Let me call up my friend. We going out this weekend. I'm not going to be in this house. So what we do is go somewhere in hopes of meeting someone who we think can rescue us from our dysfunction, from our trauma.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But really, it doesn't work like that. It's like you need to be honest and unselfish at the same time. Right. Honest is this situation jacked me up with that person.
Yeah.
Unselfish is I'm not in a position to really make someone think I'm prepared to be their person or not. I really got to deal with me, however that looks. I got to kind of deal with me to get me to a solid place where I could be a legitimate option to someone. Because right now, my mind says I want to go on and move on with my life, but my heart is still over here.
Yeah.
And so whether I have you physically or not, if your heart is not here, I don't have nothing.
Yeah.
So you got to be honest with yourself and say, you know, people that are meeting these people, whoever you're meeting, new, you're in a relationship, whatever, if you don't assess nothing else, assess where they are. Are they content with themselves? Or are they just full of trauma, they bleeding, and they looking for a nurse attendant? They're looking for someone that can nurse the wounds.
Yeah.
People are not looking for a relationship. They're looking for a service person.
Okay.
Can you help service me while I heal? And then when I'm healed, I'm going back outside. So you know what I'm saying? You got to kind of know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are just not sitting out here in this world ready for the next bus to come in great condition. People out here messed up, mental health all over the board, right? But we don't be honest with ourselves. But we out here got all kinds of traumatic experience, things that happen, and you try to make sense of it. But truth be told, you're not in a good position. Yeah. And we got to be honest with ourselves, because those are the kind of people that enter into quote unquote relationships and they leave the door open. And the frequency of that old song continues to play. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Wow. You know, it's funny because I think, and I know it happens to me more often than I would like to admit. And I would even suspect that some of those in the comments don't act like this ain't never happened to you before either, where a song will come on. Hey, touch your neighbor, say that song is coming on the radio. Yeah. You still got it in your Spotify. You still got it in your Spotify mix. Your mix, you know, and the song come on and you start recollecting and reminiscing and walking down memory lane, thinking about the times where you were with this person and how it was or whatever like that. And the reality is you have to deal with the memory of them. You have to deal with the past experience of them. And especially, and just to kind of dig into what Charles has been talking about, especially if it's been in a traumatic experience. Yeah. Something that was not as happy or as pleasant as it should have been. Yeah. You got to deal with that, you know, and it's important. And we've said this time and again, and we'll continue to say it, that, you know, once you come out of that experience, whether it was or was not traumatizing, you still need time to heal. Wow. You still need time to process. You still need time to decompress. Yeah. You still need time to unpack all of the stuff that you experienced before you can even begin to think about trying to get with somebody new. Yeah. Because the reality is you still carry that person that you were with you. Yeah. Their influence is still on you. That's why I would even say from 6 months to a year, you still got to deal with that person's influence. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they left some clothes in your apartment. They've been there, but okay. Maybe they did some, maybe they, you know, you guys had a favorite spot that you went to, or, you know, you have a lot of the same friends, or maybe you floated around in the same circles and you had a lot of those same friends. And so you're still going to have to deal with all of that.
The residue.
The residue of what you had. Yeah. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing. You have to deal with the fact that you are no longer what you used to be. Yeah. And again, I got to remind each and every one of us as we're talking about this, that there was a reason why you broke up. Yeah. There is a reason why they are your ex. Wow. There's a reason why you are the ex. Wow. And it does us no good to sit here and try to ignore the fact that everything was good to go. Everything was, you know, the best it could ever be. Because if that was the case, you would still be with them. They wouldn't be your ex. Yeah. Yeah. So let's understand that there's a reason why you broke up. Let's recognize and acknowledge that there's a reason why you're not together anymore. And from that place, pick up the pieces of who you are and your life experience and allow God to come in. I said God, allow God to come in and bring some healing and some healing and some restoration in your life. Let me even add this to it. If you need to talk to a professional therapist to help you to process all of the things that you've been through, then my friend, my brother, my sister, do that. Do what's going to help you out. Okay? Do what's going to help bring some healing and some wholeness to your life. So once you get healed and you get whole, you are ready for the next person to come through. If there is a next person to come through. But that's only been determined by how whole you are. Nobody wants a broke up person that's all beat up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You haven't allowed yourself to heal.
And here's the thing. We also got to look at it. If we look at it like this, like you just mentioned, we all can be anywhere in this world, and certain songs can come on. And when we hear them, it immediately takes us to the people in our lives during that era. Yeah. So this is the equivalent of allowing an ex to hover in your life. You're saying to yourself, anytime I allow them to be turned on, I allow myself to be recollected.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, I remember when. Stop playing with me. You playing. Don't be saying that, because you know how we used to be. And that turns into a reconnect. And now you are living, not only are you conflicted, but you're in your new relationship, your new marriage, conflicted because now you have reopened that wound with your ex.
Right.
And now you are making excuses to place them in certain areas in your life, because now that they're getting along with you, and even though you've made a new decision after your relationship has ended, now you're saying, but we're friends. We really grew past that. They don't want anything from me. But we're in a good place without respecting or taking into consideration your new person.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I gotta say that's just so that's so dangerous. I just feel like it's a dangerous place to be. Yeah. You know, okay, yeah, you're friends with your ex and you still having regular dealings with them, and they having regular dealings with you. I'm not talking about sleeping. I'm just talking about talking and, you know, occasionally hanging out, and you got somebody that you're seeing presently. I can't imagine that the person that you're seeing presently is completely okay with the fact that you're still entertaining your ex. I'm gonna put it to you like this: if I felt like Maria was entertaining her ex, and I know that she's not, so you ain't got to worry about that. You can call if you want to. Where my phone at? You can call if you want to.
Okay, I'll tell you. No, but for real, no, seriously, that's a real thing, though.
That's a real thing, and I'm saying, because that would make me feel some kind of way. That would make me feel like, oh, why is she going back to her ex? Wow. Am I not enough? Wow. Do I not satisfy? Wow. You know what I'm saying? What is it about the past that is so attractive to you that you are willing to ignore and neglect your present? Because I'm your present and your ex is your past. So at some point in time, you got to make a decision. Is it going to be your past or is it going to be your present?
And that's a great point. And this is why almost 9 times out of 10, and the people that can not be honest with themselves or not, but when it comes to the place of the demise in the relationship, it's almost always the familiar person that you drug along the way. Person that listen, you go home from work, you live out your evening with your spouse or your person.
Right.
But your way to work on the car is with the ex.
Oh, Lordy.
On the phone with the ex. Your drive home is on the phone with the ex. Then you get out, here's what we're going to eat for dinner. And you play the role of evening spouse, right? But when you leave, you go back to your communications. And so this is why this person is always so up close and personal. Heck, Adam, and they can know more about you and your business than you do, because the person is telling them play by play of all their dissatisfactions. But this is what, if we ever don't get anything out this show, and I know this is going into a different side of it.
Here we go.
Always understands this. If we're talking about a covenant with 2 married people, it's important to know that God never gives the robber the prize. And so I'm saying that to say, when a man or a woman is on the outside of your marriage, being a listening ear, being a listening, whatever you call it, that you want a sounding board, you're almost always that much more attractive to them because they know you are not completely free.
Right.
So it's attractive to chase you. It's attractive for you to call them in the middle of the night upset because your spouse said something you didn't like, and they're feeling like they're your outlet. It's only attractive while that devilish back and forth play is happening. But make no mistake about it. You leave the person alone, and it becomes, and you call them up and say, I left. So what are we going to do? Now the veil is off. The fun ain't the fun no more. All the person who used to want you to sneak out the house and stay over, they want you to go home now. It all shifts because it was all a trick. So that's why it's important to know that anybody who will be witness to your deceit, make no mistake about it, they're also afraid of you. They'll benefit off of you, but they're afraid of you as well. And meaning they're not going to trust you no more than your wife or husband at home should. But we fool ourselves into thinking that I'm going to let you see me do all of my cheating at my finest. And at the end of the road, I'm choosing you and you're going to believe me. We don't think about it like that. But that's really what it is. If I see you be slick and you showing me all the slick ways to get out of the house from your husband to meet me over here, or I made reservations. You know, I would tell a story, but I won't. But anyway, so
come on, tell a story. I done told mine. Come on here, stop playing now. Your turn. Tag, you it. Let's go.
I remember one time, Demetria, don't throw the Bible at me. But anyway, so there was one time, Demetria, in my coming along in life, where I found myself. I was a little strayed to the left. And I was entertaining, from what I was told at the time, a spouse in transition on tonight. Yes, a spouse in transition. What that meant on tonight was
they were still married.
I have a husband, but I'm on my way out, and I have my place and all of this, right? So, right. Being me at the time, now morally, I knew it was wrong. Period. No shade. I was never in question as to whether it was wrong. But if I'm honest, at the time, it was intriguing. The person was attractive. They were, kind of poised in position in corporate America, all of those things. So it seemed like when I listened to the things she would told me, you mean to tell me he gonna mess up the money like that? And somebody like you listen to all of this stuff.
Right.
But then when I began to look at the execution of how slick this person was, I mean, they would tell me, yes, 7 o'clock over such and such by the water, it's going to be room 323. And I would just be like, wait a second, you're just a little too well versed in this. The person, I mean, when I tell you, they had all of the tricks laid out.
Wow.
And I would be like, now I'm sitting up here like thinking I'm being slick. And I'm like, you really slick. So in my mind, I said to myself, I don't care how much I may like you, how wrong I know that this is. One thing, I'm not foolish enough to believe that exactly what you're doing to him, if I quote unquote caught you, you would do the same thing to me.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to walk away from the situation. But the point is, some people don't make it out of it. Some people be in career dysfunction and deception. They be hanging with people for years that they know are married, and they know the wife's social security number, where the wife work, how much she bring home, and vice versa. People have been with these, they have been secondary and third and fourth unofficial wives and husbands for years. While these people still stay where they're quote unquote unhappy. Right. Give you that I'm unhappy, but I ain't thinking about leaving at all. I'm so unhappy though, but I'm not divorcing them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the biggest trick we fall for. And a lot of people out here are forced to I shouldn't probably say this, but anyway,
Uh-oh.
okay. Here in the recent past I was hanging out with someone that was a cool person. This guy, had a lot in common. We were just kicking and laughing, joking. I was like, oh, this person kind of gets my vibe. So cool. We just chilling.
Right.
He's married though, right? The person's married.
Okay.
Then the person comes up on the scene. Here comes this young lady, random. And so I whispered over to him, oh, that's your wife? And he looked, nah. And I just said, oh. So the point, I'm like, okay. So the point I'm making is what was so deep about it was he was so slick in his movements, so much so much so if me and him walked over to get the snack machine, the girl laid back 5-10 steps. She knew what to do, that she never ever made it look like she was with us, but she was with us. Even when we sat down near the bowling park, she was over there kind of off, but there. And I was just like, gosh, like, why put yourself in a position practiced on when you know someone has got somewhere to go when they go home? Ooh. I mean, I don't care what nobody is serving you or paying you. It's not worth being a clone dummy for nobody. Right. Because when I saw her, all I kept seeing is clone dummy. Because I'm like, you sitting here, you almost half his age, and you just sitting here with this person, like, really? Like, come on, man. And I just saw that, and I just said, man, we're so good at being wrong that it's a shame, you know? Yeah. I'm not saying we haven't all been there. I've been in my dumb eras in life, but if you sit back and see, you be like, man, why do we become professional deceivers? Wow. Why do you want to be a professional deceiver? It doesn't make you feel good internally at the end of the night. You still don't feel good about yourself. I don't care how many quote unquote street victories you won. You don't feel good inside. Inside it, ultimately, we all want to wake up and feel good about the decisions we make, the choices we make, the people that we're with. You want to feel good. You don't want to feel like you got to look over your shoulder. Did that person's husband see me? Did they wife see me? You don't want to live that kind of life. You understand what I'm saying? So it really threw me off, and I looked at him differently right after that. Because at first I was having one thought, but when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I don't need to go back into the Garden of Eden. I'm still here. Even the fruit is growing. I'm still over there. But yeah. Oh my God. It's bad, man, out here. It's just like, wow. It's just, but it becomes a thing where friends are no longer, exes are really no longer exes. The ex is just the title, but you're present. Yeah. You're ex by title, but you're not an ex in true deed. You're an ex, but you're an ex that you really made me mad. You did hurt me, but I did love you enough to forgive you swiftly and keep you around. That's where we are. And so we got to be honest and just say, hey, I don't want to live like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to live no life like that. It's not positive. It's not going to bring forth anything good. And if you want something good, you can't allow, because here's the other side of the ex part. Now, if you're a single person and if an ex reaches out to you, that's up to you to decide whether or not you value the relationship with that ex enough to say, I think we can maybe fix where I thought things were broken and start anew. But if you know that relationship ended horrifically, and you feel you got these feelings or whatever, and because sometimes people are coming back to you, it should be offensive that they keep coming back after they've left. It should be offensive. It shouldn't be a cute thing to say, that person is in my phone right now. They in my text messages right now. Well, it looks silly on you because they think that you're silly. That's why they're on your phone after they did what they did, because they know that they can do it. I can come back to him or her because she's silly, or he or she is silly enough to allow it. Yeah. So that's what we have to open up our eyes to be like, look, I'm not being a fool for nobody. I don't care how I felt about them. Wow. I say this all the time. If people are okay severing the commitment with you, they are okay with risking your presence in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And that means more than anything, because that means the person don't care if you go off and get another husband or wife, and they don't have the past to come back when they found themselves to get you to untie your situation because they found themselves. That's
Right.
just not how it works.
Yeah.
Once they're okay with saying goodbye, hold on to that goodbye and keep moving.
Keep it moving.
That's it.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my question would be, why would you want to return to something that didn't work in the first place? Again, there is a reason why they are your ex. You guys couldn't make it work with the two of you, so you had to move on. You know, and it's just crazy. So one of the things that I'm interested in is the fact that and the whole story that you told, Charles, was just crazy. Okay, I just want you to know that was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. But it kind of sparked an idea in my head, is that often a lot of us will unknowingly or maybe knowingly, we sabotage our relationships with the past. We sabotage our present with the past. And it's the craziest thing, man. I don't get it. How do you think that what you had is better than what you have? Because again, what you had didn't work. What you had failed. What you had wasn't the best that you could have had. And so now you have your present, it has future possibility, but you're willing to sabotage what you have right now for what you had, thinking that what you had is better than what you have presently. We gotta really change the way we think about this in terms of how we think about ourselves.
Here it is. It's the old school thing we were taught. Oh, you deal with the devil you know and the one you don't. So that's the unhealthy mindset we do.
Yeah.
We think to ourselves, yes, this person was this. Yes, they pissed me off and they did this, but I do know them. We did spend that whole month in Cancun. Just whatever. I'm just saying we come up with all these excuses to keep the person that we know that's dysfunctional because we are afraid to do the work required to trust and build with the new. So it's easy to kind of say, well, it's familiar. That's why people go back. It's familiar. I at least know this. I at least like this. I know they need all this work over here, but compared to risking this new person, I just as well going back over here.
Wow.
That's what it is.
So you would rather run back into a house that's already on fire.
Wow.
The house is on fire. The fire trucks are outside. The firemen have gotten out the trucks. They got the hoses. They got the oxygen on. They come in to pull people out of the house while you steadily running into a burning house. Because that's exactly what sabotage is. That's exactly what this X is.
And you know what they're going to tell you?
What?
He or she, Adam, made me a custom suit that's fireproof. So I can walk around and then I won't get burned. That's what we say to ourselves.
Okay.
We know it's burning, but we think we have on fireproof life. We can go back in there and we won't get burned by it.
So yeah. Okay, that's good. Stay with that thought. Yeah, you have a fireproof suit on. Yeah, you're fireproof, so you don't burn. But everything else in your life will burn.
Oh, that's for sure.
And I'm telling you, everything else in your life will burn up the moment that you run back in to that burning house. Your present relationship, in terms of whatever state that it's in, you know, whatever ideas, whatever plans that you had, whatever aspirations that you wanted, all your possibilities for a prosperous future go up in smoke because you decided to run back into a burning house.
Wow.
Because nothing survives the fire.
Wow.
Everything gets consumed by the fire, but you throw that all to the wind because you're recollecting and reminiscing on something that you thought was better than what it actually was because it wasn't as good as you thought it was. Otherwise, you'd still be there. What sense does that make? I don't that kind of logic just boggles my mind because that doesn't make any sense. That's complete self-sabotage that you would run after an ex versus what you already have or could possibly have with somebody in the future. You'd rather run into a burning house than to get saved. That's all I'm saying.
I guess the unfortunate truth that brings us all back. I believe Demetra said something similar. She said this thing is spiritual. And I agree with her in the aspect of it all comes back to what you see when you wake up in the morning in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
How do you see you? Do you love you? Right? These are all choices of whether or not that answer is yes or no, right? That's why we end up in these situations where we end up being, in trauma situations. We end up settling and all this thing. I remember when I was young, when I used to always, when I was, a part of the Bible Bowl Club. But anyway, back when I was young.
Oh my God.
Back and forth. There was one of the scriptures I used to always think about. Mm-hmm. And it says, a prudent, meaning a smart man, foreseeth evil, but the simple pass on and are punished. That means basically you're either going to be smart about what you know you're about to walk into, or you're going to continue walking and suffer the consequences on the other side. Yeah. So that's that kind of thing where you have to say, hey, what are you going to do? Are you going to be this person to even though you may know what you're going to get out of it, but what you're getting is severely unhealthy to your life. It doesn't matter if it's familiar. That familiar is wrong. The familiar is not good. The familiar took 7 to 10 years off of your life. Right. And still didn't make good on it. Right. Yeah. So you got to say to yourself, what good is the familiar if the familiar does not lead to better and good and great and well. If you're just familiar, that just says stagnant. Familiar is we're not moving. Right. I'm glad you're here, but kick up a seat because we're not going nowhere. We stay right in this familiar circle. And so some relationships, that's what the truth is. Yeah. Yeah.
And so let me just tag onto what you just said. The familiar does not fulfill. Familiar never fulfills. Familiar is just that. It's familiar. Yeah. You recognize it. It's something that you know. But often, it's the thing that you don't know. It's the future. It's the possibility
that you don't know
that fulfills.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of us have become so comfortable with what's familiar to us, with what we recognize, that when the new comes to us, we reject it wholeheartedly because it's unfamiliar to us. It's unknown to us. Wow. So many of us have missed, watch this, so many of us have missed a blessing because it was new. It was something we'd never seen before, something that we were not acquainted with before. We don't know where it came from. It was brand new. But we reject the new for the old and familiar. And we miss the blessing. Lord have mercy. Y'all got me going today. We miss the blessing that God has prepared for us because we don't want to accept the new. Because here's what the new does. The new makes you uncomfortable because you don't know about the new. The new makes you uneasy because you don't recognize the new. But that's the point of the new. It's something that you have not experienced before. Let me tell you like this. Being with my wife Maria was a completely different experience than I ever had before. And Charles will tell you, we've had conversations on the phone where my experience with her was completely different based on past experience or past relationships. It was new.
Wow.
It was new. It was something that I was not familiar with.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this? I couldn't categorize it. But all I knew is that it wasn't what I had. Lord have mercy today. It wasn't what I had.
Yes.
It was something new. And see, I'm challenging each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Begin to open your minds, open your hearts, open your souls and your spirit to what God wants to do new in your life. Yeah. Forget the X. Forget the X. Let the X go. The X ain't going to lead you nowhere but down. Embrace what the new is on today. That's all I'm trying to say.
That's good, man. We got to be, like you said, we have to not be afraid to embrace the new, the challenge of the new. That's what it is. Many of us, we run at the thought of challenge because challenge sounds like work.
It is work.
In a world where we thrive off convenience and comfort.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't want to change their routines. They don't want to have to start thinking positive and having faith and believing this can be different than Donnell. We want to feel like, well, if it doesn't show up immediately, then I'm probably not going to believe in it.
Right.
That's what it is. And so we have to get to that point where we're saying, listen, I'm not afraid to take the chance at evolving to being a better version of me.
Yes.
Sometimes that new person can introduce you to a better you if you're open to it.
Come on, let's go.
We come into these new situations bringing the old regime along with us. Saying, I know that. Now, here's the crazy thing. All of the things that didn't work over there, you're trying to institute here in a new ground.
Oh, man.
That's like saying, I know it's new, but I got my own crops. And I'm saying, wait a minute, this is a whole new ground over here.
Right.
Let what we are sowing here be new. I don't want them crops from over there because they didn't grow. But we're bringing them to these new situations saying, let's let this work because I believe I'm more comfortable to do this.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? So that comfort thing is a killer.
It is.
Some of us, if we're honest, the reason we fight and we kick, heck, I know I've done it. We fight and we kick because we can know that the new is good. But sometimes we just be like, oh, I don't want to shift. I want to stay like this. And but how you know when you have met someone to take you further is because it almost always starts uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because that's the process of stretching.
Yes. Talk, boy. Talk.
Outside of your element, it's uncomfortable. It starts off and it's too great and there's no challenges, no being called to the carpet, no correction of your bad behavior. You better run.
Yeah.
That's a person that's okay being okay.
Right.
If you're going to be okay being okay. Normally, those type of people got a whole list of friends from the past.
Yeah.
They all know that person is okay with being okay. So you gotta have the new person that's willing to challenge you.
Yes.
Reason, of course, not too much, but challenge. Say, listen, I see greater in you.
Yes.
Let's come together. But not. I think one of the most important things is you want to be careful to not make an adult feel like you are mothering or fathering them, right? Because they are adults. But there are wise ways to win people when you do it wisely. You don't have to push and kind of like force your way on somebody. But if you can sow them little small seeds real delicately, they'll take root and go a long way. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
That's good, man. We might as well go ahead and take up the offering now. We done had church up in here. Let's go. Just go ahead and do the altar call. Go ahead and do the altar call real quick. Let's go.
Tonight, to those of you on tonight, there are some people. I'm speaking to those in the church that are keeping their ex in their life. And what does that look like, preacher?
Oh, God.
Still know if your phone fell on the ground, we may see your mother, your father, your son or daughter in the first two, but the last 6 or 7 texts are your exes. The phone have not been baptized. The phone still have ex-sex pictures and ex-sexting and ex-sex selfies all over the place and all of these things that keep you captured in yesterday. So I'm saying on today, what we have to do is come out like Adam said to us and do not be afraid to embrace the new.
Yeah. That's
offering. Let me back up. Let us stop offering a lifeline to the past.
Wow, nice.
Past for a reason.
Nice.
We need to see, the problem is we offer the past an olive branch and we offer the future a stick of bribes.
Wow.
We need to flip around those. Give the stick of brow to the past and give the olive branch of grace to the future. Okay. That's what we need to do on tonight. All right.
All right, Pastor Charles. All right, Pastor Charles.
The shelter, and we'll be down there without. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But anyway, this is good. Appreciate y'all for tuning in on it. But yes, Dion, we got to cut the lifeline. We giving too many olive branches out. We don't need to.
And you know what? I think here's the thing though. So I think often we entertain again the contingency plan that just in case this don't work, I still got somebody in the wings who I can get my maintenance from. But here's real faith. Here's real faith. Real faith says I'm cutting off my past. I'm not dealing with my ex. I'm not giving my ex any more room in my life. That season is done because now I'm walking into a new season where I need to be free and clear of my past. That's what's going on. That's what's going on.
Hey, Bruce, Demetrius is asking. Bruce said earlier, Adam, I want to give Bruce a window of time, Bruce, to ask you a question. Bruce had a question for Dion and Demetrius. Bruce, if you feel comfortable, sir, go ahead and ask your question, and we will be patient. If not, we will let y'all hash it out. But I know Bruce I like to make sure everybody gets the clarity they want when we're going through the shows and different things like that. You know, I know it's tough. Listen, Demetrius and Dion can be tough. They tough in the comments, so we're going to support you, Bruce. We're going to pray for you. We're supporting you. It's all right. We'll support you. But no, this is good, man. This is really good. It's like this is something that many of us, if we're honest, deal with. We show up naked and alone saying we're single.
Right.
But if we were to turn around, you'll see 5 or 6 people clinging on our back. Like your back has people like this.
Yeah, right. Hanging on to you. Yeah.
Yes. So we need to definitely be better at that and purge the whole you. Let's practice purging the whole you. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you can really enjoy the new. So yeah, leave it like that.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
All right, Bruce said he on red pill today. All right.
Okay. All right.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in today to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, where we talked about the song called Your Ex. Why is it still being played? Thank you guys for tuning in and keeping us honest. Y'all were great today. The comments was coming.
Yeah, comments were fire. Comments were on fire today. Yeah.
It always helps. When the more interactive y'all are, the more they egg us on. But anyway.
Yeah. And definitely share the show. Definitely share this. Like this on Facebook, like this and share this on YouTube. We're trying to branch out to different platforms, but we definitely need your help in terms of expanding this and helping everybody in their lives out. So definitely share and like this on today.
Bruce started it really quick. Real quick. Newsflash, Bruce says, why is it challenging for women and men to admit they were in low self-esteem while operating in a side situation? I think, me personally, just from the outside looking in, I think it's tough for people in general to admit I made a bad standard decision.
Okay.
Meaning relating, because that's just, we all are mostly judged by our decision making, right? So when we find ourselves in situations where we entertain somebody's husband, somebody's wife, somebody's fiance, somebody's woman or man, we know internally it's wrong. But sometimes I've heard it even said where I remember, God bless the past Janice's soul. But Janice said one time, and I never forgot it. We got into an argument on the show one time about this one thing. Janice said, we were talking about side people, right? And she had admitted that she was seeing someone that was married, right?
Okay.
And I said, well, Janice, that is just horrible. You know, I was trying to lighten it and tease her, but we were joking about it. And Janice said, I'm not committed to his wife. He is.
Oh.
She said, that's his. She said, my allegiance is only to him. He has to deal with his wife. And what she told me is I told him, if we do this, I don't want to run into you in the grocery store. I don't want to run into you at the gas station because they live within a radius of each other.
Wow.
And so she was saying, these are my rules. If you didn't hear about them rules, you work the rest of that out with her. And that's when I said we are living in the last days.
Oh God.
You can't, because think about it. It's hard to fight with someone who's trying to make it easy for you in sin. When someone is trying to make it convenient, they're not fussing and telling you, I'm gonna go tell your wife. They're telling you, sure, just buffet me from your wife.
Okay.
That's deep. So anyway, all right, folks. We will we don't want Bruce and them on here. They're trying to jump Bruce. We got your back, Bruce. No, I'm just teasing. Anyway, I'm teasing it anyway. We'll see y'all next week. And I guess Mr. Foyle, I guess we'll come on over here to the other side.
Unplug.
We'll see you guys here shortly. Bye. All right. Welcome to Unplugged, the after show. Show where we give you just a few minutes, just a few 2 or 3 minutes of deprogramming of the initial message.
You know what? Really? See, this is what I can't handle.
I'm seasoned. No, listen, at the end of the day, the reason many of us cringe at the thought of entering into the dating world, entertaining taking someone serious, entertaining your relationship going to the next exclusive level, is because we have mastered living in the past so much with our exes that the future and the new almost comes across as lame. We have tricked our minds into thinking ratchet familiarity feels more better than the stretch of discovering the new. And so that we find reasons to make up Build-A-Bears in our past.
Wow.
This person had money. This person had good sex. This person you can take home to mama. This person is this. They support me. We make up cuts and cuts of people that we left behind or have left us.
Right.
And we justify them according to the grade we give them in whatever position we like best with them. And so we keep them around as subliminal options. We go out to dinner with some of them. Some of them we're intimate with. Some of them we do this. Some of them are people that we talk to and from work. All of these methods of convenience simply because we don't believe that the good of the new, of the unexpected actually exists. So we learn to exist in purgatory of familiarity.
Wow. Wow. So I just want to address Bruce's question real quick. I know you had your turn.
Okay.
So let me take my turn real quick. So I think part of the answer to his question in terms of women and men having difficulty admitting that they were in low self-esteem is the fact that our environment, and when I speak of our environment, I'm talking about past relationships, particularly family relationships. A lot of those family relationships were not the best for us. We did not receive as much encouragement and as much affirmation that we should have. Now, that's not the case for everybody, but I believe this is the case for the majority. And this is the reason why when we approach relationships, we look for what's familiar. Again, we're going back to that idea of familiarity. That if it's a relationship where I'm not being affirmed, I'm not being encouraged, and that's familiar to me, and I'm going to gravitate to that. I'm going to be drawn to that because that is what I know. that is what is attractive to me. And again, it's not just in family relationships, but it's in friendships, work relationships, school relationships, where we aren't being esteemed and affirmed. Now, I will go further and I will say this: that some of your encouragement, some of your esteem has to come from the inside. You can't rely completely on the external or the outside to affirm and encourage you. At some point in time, you have to recognize, well, if nobody's going to encourage me, let me learn how to encourage myself. Let me learn how to esteem myself. And I find that even if we have not gotten that as children, as preteens, as teens, as young adults, that as adults, that we have to learn to esteem ourselves. And so that when we go out on the dating scene and we're looking for a potential relationship, that we will be of such soundness and wholeness in terms of our self-esteem that we'll look for other people who also know how to build up self-esteem, so that when we both get together, not only am I building myself up, but I'm also building you up too. And I think it's important that we understand that a lot of us have been conditioned that way over the years. It's going to take time to uncondition yourself from that and learn how to do the opposite of that. You know, again, we are attracted to the familiar. The familiar is what is comfortable for us. That's where we are. That's where we live. Well, you have to learn how to be comfortable in the uncomfortable from now on. And you have to learn how to be like, okay, look, nobody's here. Nobody's going to throw a party for me. I'll throw a party for me. I will encourage me. Okay. Not only that, but if I see somebody else who can be a part of me, part of my life, then I'm also going to encourage them. I'm also going to affirm them in the same way.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah,
very good. Not all. It's important to realize not all exes fail to be excellent.
That's true.
Some of them were excellent in certain things and certain aspects. It's just that the relationship ultimately did not align for you and that person. So that just simply means the person wasn't for you. It doesn't mean give them 3 years to decide differently. It means it wasn't for you. Period. Just change and go about face, live your life. We were glad Bruce, he saw your response. So great, good stuff.
Cool. Good.
All right, well, thank you all once again for listening for us, putting up with us. We'll definitely see you guys next week. Much love. All right.
Peace.